Right, hello everyone. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.co's daily brief. It is a holiday. It's a really weird week. It's Tuesday. It's the middle of the week, but it is a holiday down in the States. And we're live, so anybody watching the YouTube page, I should be able to see it there. But nice to see a big full room of eager, active participants here for our daily brief this morning, so awesome. I did notice a few people have been requesting to book one-on-one tutorials, basic silver memberships, whatever. And the one-on-one tutorial system was overlapping the bookings with the students. So we had to take it down, and I just got word from Julian this morning that it's back up and running. And he says here, we just have to wait another 1.5 weeks for people to book all with the new system, and then will be no more duplicates. So, in essence, keep your eye out for that. If you really need a tutorial and you're just like, because like I know somebody here this morning was asking me if they could book a tutorial, when is it going to be opened up? I just wanted to give you a heads up on that. Maybe just probably until that's up and running. Usually in the evenings, my time, things are a bit quieter. So if you want to chat with me, that's probably the best time to sort of just grab me and say, hey, Brian, can we review some stuff here? Today's Tuesday. Today is Tutorial Tuesday. It's insane. Basically, my entire day is all tutorials. So I'm probably going to be pretty burnt out by the end of today. But nonetheless, I don't know what time that is for you, wherever you are in the world, but usually in the evenings, that's the time I have sort of extra time on my hands. If you do have pressing questions and you really want to chat with me, that's probably the best time to get a hold of me. Today is a holiday. If it was just, you know, if it wasn't Crazy Tutorial Tuesday, I'd be like just hanging out in the lounge chatting with you guys. And it is a holiday, so technically stock markets are a bit sort of quiet today. And I even noticed crypto is very quiet here today. So if anything, probably just a good sort of overview kind of day. But I just wanted to give you a heads up with regard to the one-on-ones. They are coming back. Just don't be patient. You know, this is WordPress. Everybody should understand WordPress. Holy moly. Just quick overview of what I see going on in the broader market, and interesting to see some of our altcoins. You know, if you're just watching on the screen, our little dogs of recently are starting to slowly show signs of bottoming. Some of the coins that were recently uppy seem to have backed off a little bit here. I kind of get the feeling this is a funny holiday weekend. Very low volume, very low liquidity, and I even noticed we were chatting about this in the lounge. I got a funny feeling that the higher ups, the people that are running these shows, I got a funny feeling they spent this weekend actually transferring a lot of these NASDAQ stocks and stuff over to the blockchain. I got a funny feeling that's what's happening here. So I woke up and I noticed a whole bunch of people were going on about stocks like Apple are printing some absolutely insane prices right now. What the heck is going on? But no, I'm not kidding. I honestly think that's what's happening. They're taking advantage of the weekend here where it's pretty quiet. But it really wouldn't surprise me. I know NASDAQ. I know most of the stock market people are very, very interested, especially with regard to derivatives and options and stuff like that. They want to get this stuff on the blockchain as fast as possible. I totally know that's coming. So I just wonder, you know, we were bantering in the lounge this morning about some funny business going on here. And I'm just wondering whether there was some, you know, there's stuff going on in the back end that they're not telling the public. So, you know, be mindful of this. You know, at the same time, and this isn't a bad sort of commentary for us, I get the, you know, the interesting thing about this cycle, this fear cycle, 17.5 years, is tech stocks were not supposed to do that well. That's the irony of the fear cycle, is that technically tech stocks are growth stories. They do really, really well during the growth cycle. And I also noticed too, and we've talked about it a little bit, not too much, But if we throw on something like oil prices, we often see that oil and tech like to move in opposites. So should it really surprise us that oil bottomed and tech topped here? And as oil is working its way back, tech is soft. I don't think that should really surprise us. And so in a weird sort of way, I actually have a feeling that we're kind of back to old economy versus new economy, and who's going to win the battle. And it seems to me at the present, old economy, which is the part of the economy that actually does the best during the fear cycle, dividend stocks, right, blue chips, all that kind of stuff. They seem to be outperforming right now, while tech just simply can't get out of its own way. The sort of end sum result, the S&P 500, which is basically the entire stock market, it's kind of just going sideways through all of this. So I thought that was just an interesting message to bring to the community. If you're kind of wondering what's sort of driving the economy right now, I think it's old economy, and new economy is kind of on its knees. Sadly, you know, for this community, where do you think crypto falls? Is crypto a new economy or an old economy play? So, you know, the fact that we're kind of worried, cautious about Bitcoin right here, I think it makes sense. I'm not necessarily looking for Bitcoin to collapse, but, you know, given the fact that it's moved up as much as it has, you know, just a period of consolidation just to try and, solidify these gains, in my opinion, is pretty natural. We're also looking at something like Apple on the chart, on the daily chart. And if this was an altcoin, would be even the slightest bit interested in buying this here? No, it's pretty straightforward stuff. The irony of it all, guys, is that everything that I'm teaching you, especially people that are in the education program, you got to understand you're on like the most cutting edge, most volatile, most intensive part of the market, trading things like these altcoins. But the basic principles that we're teaching you on this course, on the site, they're universal. And none of us should look at this chart and go, oh, it looks like Apple's a screaming buy. Like, holy crap. The whole reason why I bought the option to begin with to make money on the downside was we were looking ultimately for this big old hole in the charts to be filled in at some point down the road. I don't see any reason why that can't happen. This is the end of June, though, beginning of July. And I can see in the marketplace people have been humming and hawing about the Fed, really the bond market. I was posting in the lounge, the bond market's starting to freak out now. A couple things we should probably mention about that. Well, actually, before we get into that, let's finish this thought. Usually in this stock market, and this is usually, nothing's ever written in stone, but usually June is a correction month. Can everybody see sell in May and walk away? Can you see that scenario here? Through June, usually we get our seasonal pullback. And then once we head into July, we actually get into second quarter earnings reporting season. So my hunch is, the market's going to hum and haw, and it's interesting. We were talking about them relisting tech stocks and some crazy ass price action. My hunch is there's some sort of shenanigans going on around here, but as soon as we get into earnings season, the market's going to perk back up. That's my hunch. And usually the stock market actually likes to top out in late August, early September, when the pros come back from the Hamptons. But it doesn't have to. If the market just has a little and then craps out through the end of the summer, it wouldn't be like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened. But usually we catch a little bit of a bid after the first week of July. So let's keep an eye on whether that happens or not this year. And any way you shake this, right? If you look at this chart, you know, if we wake up one morning and we see the Dow down like 2,000 points and the S&P falling out of bed and the NASDAQ collapsing and Apple's back at 120 bucks a share down, I don't know, 10, 15 bucks on the day, sky's falling. We as professionals should look at this chart and go, well, duh. Why were you such an idiot buying up here? That was just stupidity, right? And this gets me into trouble with like bimbo references and stuff like that. Bought a shitload of Bitcoins, all that kind of stuff, because I like to make fun of the public for their stupid behavior. But everybody looking at this chart should be, there's no bloody way in hell I would ever buy one share of Apple Computer here. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Only time will tell. So the last point that I wanted to make, and you know, I think it's important for us to understand where we are in these cycles. We're coming into the fall. We should be expecting a correction. That's just normal seasonality. When does the next recession hit? Because when recession hits, that's usually when they take the stock market down a good 50% or so. So if you haven't seen this before, this is our absolutely most consistent, most reliable tool to tell us when recession is about to come. This is what's called the dynamic yield curve. What's really cool about this is as you can move the cursor through time and see what, you know, inverted curves look like in the past. And here's a good example. This was the end of 2006, well before any sort of you know, housing crisis blow up or anything. In essence, you can see on here it says inverted. All right, that's what we're looking for as sort of our final tell that the shit's about to hit the fan. Excuse my French there, Aaron, sorry. And you can see that within 6 months, all hell broke loose. Same thing in the dot-com boom. Went inverted, short end higher than the longer end. Here didn't necessarily, I think maybe they even took, yeah, there you go. You can see short rates are higher than long rates. And there's the dot-com blow up. So very simply put, let's keep an eye on the yield curve until this thing does invert. It's just business as usual. If we're really lucky, guys, right, this thing doesn't invert until for another year or two, and this crazy orgy that's going on in this fear cycle peak just keeps going, right? We all become billionaires trading altcoins. But definitely no doubt about it. We must be cognizant of the fact that we are, you know, it's even, you know, we're halfway through year 7 of this decade. When we get into years 8, 9, 0, 1s and 2s, recessions love to happen. So, you know, I had posted in the lounge, and I think it's the general message, and it's pretty consistent in my career. Brian's usually right. I'm very rarely wrong on these calls, but Brian's usually early. So don't go and panic and dump everything today. But just understand that if Brian's starting to talk about something, then it means that it's on our radar screen and it is coming down the road. All right. I think if anything, until this thing does actually invert, this is just more sort of seasonal, you know, just market went too far too fast. Frankly speaking, I got my hunch is that Apple's actually going to see new highs here. And then into August, September, they top it to set up and maybe even rally it into September, October. And, you know, October is actually our cycle pivot. And should that scenario occur into August and September, I'm going to be laser beam focused on buying put options for the stock market. For now, I'm just cooling my jets. We did a nice little short trade on this thing, made some really nice money, doubled our money. Can't complain about that whatsoever, and now I'm just gonna leave the stock market alone for the time being. Okay, I wanted to just make reference to that. I think a lot of back and forth, right? Suppose we should probably pop on over to good old Bitcoin. Let's see what's going on here. Let's put, how did I do that? My wonderful MEX chart here. And actually, there's some really interesting battles going on here in Bitcoin right at the moment. There's a part of me that kind of feels like this weekend was a little bit of fluff. We noticed that here we are Monday, Sunday, Saturday, Friday. They basically took the market out on its knees into the beginning of the long weekend. They've bumped it up here, and I thought it was really interesting that they actually got it through this high here. But at the same time, we have to be cognizant that this might be a harmonic pattern here. Where we go? A to B to C. Uh-oh, is that 61.8? Looks pretty damn close. To C to D, so 78.6 is right there. We got to be really laser beam focused, especially tonight heading into the kill zones, London kill zone, New York kill zone first thing tomorrow morning. We have to be cognizant that we might see some sort of signs of failure here and then a dip back down to this trend line here. So just be cognizant of that. We're still in danger territory here. We haven't really resolved anything too egregiously. It is interesting too when we looked at the 4-hour RSI, that little double bottom on the divergence there was definitely a mark worth paying attention to, and the market's worked its way up through that. Now you notice that we're no longer oversold. Let's see how she behaves on the 4-hour chart through this harmonic window here. So that's at about 2,700 or so, right back up against this original double top. Let's keep a close eye on this. If we start seeing ME action in our RSI indicator, like here, not so much here, but definitely this kind of action, right, then we'll know that whatever this bull is that got going here is starting to stall. It is interesting too on the daily charts that we've gone and put this W in here, and you can see that yesterday's price action finished the RSI. Where's the number? The high of this little double bottom here was 51.3827, and yesterday's high was 51.22. So not quite a breakout here. We actually need today, and keep in mind it's 9 o'clock in the morning, this day, this bar technically doesn't end for another, I guess, about 6 or 7 hours. We actually need this bar to finish relatively strong here to actually confirm this double bottom. Right now we're sitting at 52.79, so it's trying to confirm that double bottom. But if we crap out here, and you can see over the past 8 hours, they basically rallied it right into the New York kill zone here and put in this nasty little fractal top here. So until we fractal reverse here, you know, this is a 4-hour chart. At the very most, right, this is the start of an inside bar, but I doubt it. Looks to me like that's fairly weak. But at the very best, we have to wait for this candle to close and then the next candle for us to see some sort of reversal. So in essence, you know, for the rest of the North American session through this holiday period here, looks to me like Bitcoin's pretty heavy right now. I don't look for egregious rallies over the short term. If anything, what this probably is doing is it's setting up for, okay, let's see what the Asians have in mind. And you can see if we break this low here on this swap, and this is 25.6790, sitting at 25 70 right now. I mean, basically just sitting 67. What did we say? 67.90. So basically about $2 or $3. My hunch is it'll take that out. And if anything, probably conservatively, especially for level oneers, I just suggest that we use 50% rules as just nice, simple, sort of keep you honest indicators. And so you can see that on balance, 2,500, which is a big fat round number, nice and psychological, that probably is going to be a short-term objective if we fail here. And it just looks to me awfully heavy right at the moment. So really, North American session, and given the fact that they're all on holiday, right? It's 4th of July, patriotic, blah, 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 blah. Are many people working on their trading desks? Not likely. And are people, even sitting behind computers watching things like Bitcoin? Not likely. In fact, a lot of students from yesterday's class were like, it's July 4th, got family over, don't even have the computer on today. I'll see you later, Brian. So, seeing this weakness through North America really shouldn't surprise us. And also, too, if you haven't seen this before, if you aren't aware of this, just be cognizant of the fact that they basically rallied it right into the New York kill zone, even though it's a holiday. And in essence, the market didn't find any buyers. And so market always was looking to do business. If it can't find any buyers, then where's it going to go? It's going to go to try and find to do business. If we look at the shorter term, really, this is what I think is driving the bus right now because, the Americans are away on holiday and stuff like that. The rally, I think, actually got going here out of China. You can see that we're back into value, and one might argue that we never even did really lose value here. You'll also see that this notch is still wide open. So if they wanted to take the market to do some business, my hunch is they're going to find a lot of business to be done down in here. I like the fact that we had this nice bullish divergence in MACD. And, if anything, this is a great testament if we do the MACD count. And I probably should add this to the course material. But I've found just in my personal career that MACD likes to move in 4, 8s, 12s, and 16s. So on the reversal through the 0 line, you can actually start your count. 1, 2, 3, 4. So any point after this, we got to start looking for exhaustion and a potential reversal. So notice after we did the count, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. In this case, the peak was actually 5. Yeah, that's doable. Everybody notice the cute little double top that came in here on MACD? Up, down, up. See you later. You see that? I don't know if anybody can see that or not. Up, down, up, top. So, if you can get into the habit of doing these counts, it gives you sort of a age of the rally kind of idea. So notice here, 1, 2, 3, 4. In this particular case, it went 5, 6, and then, here comes the top. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. In this case, it was 3. But if you can get into sort of that mental exercise, when the market breaks, count in 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. In this case, 5, 6, 7, 8. The ultimate bottom was at 8. It sort of gives you a framework to sort of judge, here we break down 1, 2, 3, 4. You see how it petered out after 4 bars? 1, 2, 3, 4. So, and you could even argue the off of the low. 1, 2, 3, 4. In that case, it was 5. Well, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And then it rolled over. So, I really like this breakout here. But at the same time, I had to ask myself, once we get up into here and I do my count backwards, does it really make sense for me to look for even further push higher here? If anything, after my 4 count, I have to start asking, what is she doing and what's her temperament? And in this case, after the 4 count, she actually needed to take a pause. And you could argue 1, 2, 3, 4. There should still be one more down move here. before we can even start to think about some sort of turn. Does that make sense, guys? Do you think any of you could work on that? It's kind of a fun little tool. The MACD counts. So remember, 4s, 8s, 12s, and 16s. And just as a fun experiment, just go through and do some counts and just see how reliable that is. You'd be surprised. It's quite shocking. Okay, so there's sort of what did I learn today kind of little tidbit for you. Long and short of all that is, yeah, I was happy with the nice breakout here. Totally awesome. And if anything, signs of divergence, if we were Hollywood nicking this kind of thing, now is actually, you know, on the divergence here, now is when I actually need to start hunting for W's. And if I'm a bull, now is when, or if I'm trading candles, right, now is when I need to start seeing things like inside bars. Like my nice little inside bar setup there. So let's see, and remember we did the 50% rule. Odds are we're probably going to have to come back to this, and that, you know, that was 2,500. Notice the bottom of value too is right up against this 30 SMA, and we're doing our counts. Don't like the fact, can everybody see that we have this little bearish divergence in Willie right here? So Willie made lower highs there, and price made higher highs. You see that? Does anybody see that? I don't know. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Remember, we did our little count here, and it said that, hey, this thing was getting tired. It topped out as well. You can see the divergence in Willie. The good part about it here is that Willie never did get stupid, so it's not like this is a dangerous market right now. I think if anything, like we said, the North Americans just really aren't in a buying mood right now, and so the market's soft. We might even notice how we had this high just slightly taken out here, and then this low slightly taken out here. This might actually be creating what we call an expanding wedge. So keep your eyes peeled for any sort of dump against these lows down into here. You'll notice that value-wise, there just isn't a heck of a lot of interest. Remember, we saw that there was a big notch in the profile. So, you know, if you're at the point where you're trading lower time frames, you know, maybe keep an eye out for some sort of reversal pattern down in this area here to set up the next leg higher. Anyway you shake it, it looks like Bitcoin's a bit soft here right now. We do have our hedge program going, and this is just, you know, managing our, we got like 45 Bitcoins now, I think, or something like that. And, you know, we just lightened up a little bit of Bitcoin. I've told you guys repeatedly, if this thing does need to dump back into old support levels and reload zones, we've got some stink bids working. I'm more than happy to be a buyer on any sort of big panic capitulation dump. I don't necessarily see it happening right away. I was very encouraged to see this little double bottom come in. But if we do change this to a clothesline, does everybody see the well-defined M? That is now confirmed. Up, down, up, fail. With the close here, that's actually confirmed this M now. So be careful, guys. I have no doubt about it. We're not out of the woods yet. And of course, we've got this big fundamental event coming up in the end of July, beginning of August. And if we look at the way price of Bitcoin's acted last summer, this is kind of what I'm thinking we're going to see, guys. All right, we had the big run up. We had the, do you see this sort of similarity in price behavior here? I'm still thinking there's one more of these to go into that August period and that big fundamental event. And notice how this dump came right back against these highs. Can you see that? Right there. All right, right into that level. So it's almost like this is a bit cliche, right? Big honking wick and tail, right? Eventually resolve bullishly, massive bull run, consolidation, got to come back and kiss the old high. We fast forward to today, big, doji candle, washout, big run, initial pullback, dump down into the original level, start the game all over again. Mr. Goldman Sachs has been suggesting that price probably should bottom somewhere around here, probably into this tail. I guess it's Mr. Goldman Sachs, eh? Or Miss Goldman Sachs, or Mrs. I don't even know if she's married or not. Anyway, the point of the matter here is the higher ups, and if we're in sort of regular New York session, they're probably going to be net buyers somewhere down in this area here. And of course, this is Bitcoin, insane wicks and tails. I wouldn't be surprised in some insane panic. This is this crazy tether thing. We get some insane tails to give us these fills down here. We'll see what happens. Only time will tell, as they say. It's interesting. Keep an eye on Ether as sort of another proxy in this space. Does anybody see any particular letters of the alphabet here? All right, if I'm not mistaken, I think one of our buddies, Nico, he's a super bear on this thing. And AB equals CDs. Wouldn't shock me if he has to come back down here. We strapped on a little Litecoin bot the other day, and I thought it was interesting to see that the bot basically had its move stop to break-even level hit. Oh, that's not it. Where the hell are you? Around here somewhere. That's not it. Yeah, there it is. There we go. I like to stay relatively active. So, as we were going through the weekend, I saw this little bot set up. I took it. We wrote about it. I think there's a few people on the site that joined me on the trade. It's a cute little trade. We're basically sitting at 1-to-1 risk right now. If, I'm the type of guy where I don't have a problem getting stopped out at scratch on this and just letting it work. I don't have a problem whatsoever. I can fully understand new people to trading who really don't know what they're doing. They're just riding Brian's coattails. After everything I just said about Ethereum, and I didn't really talk too much about it, but you saw the Ethereum chart, everything I said about Bitcoin. If you're like, damn, made some nice money here, I'm feeling kind of chicken shit. If you just want to get the F out of here, trying to keep the language clean, I don't have a problem with that. Take your money and run. Get out of here, right? At least you can't come back and say that Brian, he just lost me money. If you're not fully ready and prepared to walk away at this trade at scratch and just call a trade, I don't have a problem if you just want to walk away. But for me, my stop is sitting right here where we bought it, which is just a little bit above the bot, or a little bit below the bot level. My stop is the bot stop. So this reminds me of, I think there was Decred recently we did a bot on, where I just basically walked at just a little bit above scratch. And really, I'm perfectly fine with that kind of trading. For me, that's perfectly fine. So just be cognizant of the fact, we caught a nice move here, no doubt about it. But given the rest of the market sort of prognostications, and considering this is the end of this holiday weekend, was this rally just holiday weekend illiquidity fluff? It could be. And as I said, if this thing comes back to scratch, I'm gone. No big deal. Next bus in 10 minutes. I actually noticed through the weekend, not a hell of a lot is moving here. Like our little Bella bot is just sat here doing absolutely nothing, just picking its nose. I did go and take another nibble, some guys in the lounge, and I did notice that some guys in the lounge were posting ideas. One trade that you guys all took and I didn't, that DYN, I saw that it just went nuts, and I was like, but I haven't been buying a heck of a lot lately because, frankly, I'm just, this isn't the time of year to be an aggressive bull. So I apologize for a lot of news site people that are like, oh, give me coins to buy, give me coins to buy, I want to buy, I want to buy, I want to buy. And I'm just sitting there going, I don't see a heck of a lot that really appeals to me. We were talking in the lounge yesterday, and some boys were posting this chart, and actually it's not bad. It's cute little double bottom. And you can see the market's trying to fractal. If anything, if you want to wait for this divergence to confirm, it's totally fine by me. If you want to wait for the bulls to actually show that they're participating, fine by me. I like, I've been just slowly accumulating this position. I think we have about 1% of our portfolio exposure into this thing now. I like this. It's not a bad area to be adding to the trade. So there's an idea for you to chew on. If you don't have this one and you're thinking, geez, I got a bunch of Bitcoin, I'd like to go and have it working in some ideas. This isn't a bad idea to me. And I think on the crypto page, it shows that we just went and bought a little more of this. So something for you to consider. Okay, what time is it? We got about 15 minutes here before the tutorial nightmare starts. So let's see if we can take a look at a few of your ideas and see if we can maybe help you guys out here a bit. All right, so let's pull up this page, and let's pop on over. Where do we want to go? I guess we'll go over here. Yeah, Kevin, you're doing really good work there, dude. Keep it up. Keep on keeping on, my friend. And the level oneers just went through a really, really tough exercise yesterday in understanding volume and volume impetus. So all you level oneers, it's going to take some practice for you guys to get that impetus concept down. So practice, 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 practice. You've got to practice. Okay, so here is our list, and now we need a chart to look at. Where should we go? Suppose we can look on Coinergy for now. We're gonna have that over there. Yeah, okay. So let's start with, and how far back have we gone here? It's been a while since I've done this thing. Well, we'll just start with this one here. BCY. I seem to remember that we looked at that recently, though. BCY. Oof. Oh, it's a cute little chart. I think it's a good idea, guys. I know a lot of people are like really hunting for any chance we can take a peek at the volume impetus on whichever chart you picked. Well, if anything, Kevin's example here was just really good. It's nice and solid. Did I put it away? Oh, I did. And now it's gone. And I don't see Kevin. Where's Kevin? Where are you, Kevin? There he is. This is what they're working on. Yeah, Mike, you had one on. Hey, Mike, you did. Was it you or somebody did a study on Ubik? I thought it was totally cool. So in essence, here's a great example of not you. Okay, so one of your other peers also did a chart on Ubik, and yeah, you could totally see exactly the same thing. So here's just a really good example of that volume impetus where the bulls are just simply falling asleep, and you can literally see the moment the bulls fell asleep here, the bears woke up. It's a really, really good example of that. I noticed some people, some students, and I'm not quite sure where they got the message, but they were starting their counts looking for a top starting 1, 2, 3. That's not how you do it. I'm speaking to one person in particular, and if he's watching this video, you start your counts at the highest bar and count forward. 1, 2, 3. So can everybody see? 1, 2, 3. Lower peaks. If we get a volume bar lower than this bar right here, this is a signal the bulls have fallen asleep. And you can literally see the bears just took over following that event. And sure enough, boom, there's your OBV confirmation. The bears have come alive. So I'm not going to go into too much detail on that. We'll leave that for today. If you want, Mike, Kevin can maybe give you, here, I'll even just grab this link. If you want to throw this into your notes, this is a really good little working example. Okay, so let's go take a look at some of your coins. BCY, and on balance, I kind of like this. I think we've been talking about this for a while. I don't mind being a buyer of this name down at the bottom end of the range here. And I also noticed we have some nice bullish divergence working here. And momentum, the oscillation, it's sort of a mixed message. I do really like the fact that money flowing into here. And even on this pullback here, the trend in the volume and the money flow, if anything, can everybody see? Do we have a volume impetus? Does it show that the bulls have fallen asleep? We got one peak. No. There really is the way you measure whether volume impetus, whether the bulls have fallen asleep, is you want to see 1 peak, 2 peak, 3 peak. So we had one big peak in the buying interest that broke the previous high. Now you have to wait for another peak and then a lower one and then a bar that's very low. So, and that'll create your 1, 2, 3 setup. So the bulls are still very much awake here. They have not fallen asleep. And you can kind of see the bears, to a certain degree, they're getting a little tired here. So if we start seeing this situation in the red candles, or the red volume bars, then we'll know that the bears have fallen asleep and the bull is back in control. So for the time being, I think the jury's sort of out. The bulls and bears are waging their war right now. And if we look at price, I think it makes sense, right? We're down at the bottom end of the range. The bulls are trying to defend these lows, and the bears knocked it back down when we were up top here. And you can literally see that this market is going through a fight right now. I'm a bull, I'm a bear, I'm a bull, I'm a bear, I'm a bull, I'm a bear, right? And we'll know who's going to win this battle based on who takes over here. Right, and if you're in the Wednesday class, then we'll do all this tomorrow, right? Okay, let's keep moving forward here. ZCL, I seem to recall we looked at these before, so let's maybe move forward. STR and XRP, I seem to remember we looked at that. SWT, that doesn't look familiar. What is SWT? Not bad. Nothing really to write home about. Higher highs and higher lows defines a bull. So really you don't want to see these lows taken out. If we saw them lose these levels, that would be a bad sign. I think you can see the bottom end of the range. There's some cheeky gaps down in here. If I was a buyer, I'd probably focus in on this area. If we just do reload zones, yeah, wow, what a coincidence. 78.6 right against all these gaps, these tails, the bottom of that tail. So if I was going to work a bit, I think I'd be interested down in this area here. No real signs of divergence. Yes, Willie is stupid. That's good. No real signs of the bulls showing up here yet. You can see the bears have taken over this party, and they're driving the bus right now. And you can see the on-balance volume broke down right here when the bears came alive right there. So you want to wait for the bears to finish their orgy, their feeding frenzy. You want to see nice momentum divergences. Yes, the market is oversold. I just don't know about trade location. I think maybe it's probably best to wait for a move down into this area. Okay, who's next? NMR is like 10 days old. Yeah. I'm not really a big fan of trading new issues because when they come out of the gate, I kind of feel like they need to have some breathing room for us to really sort of, see where the market, where supply and demand in the marketplace really is. I suppose you could take shots off of these lows. Don't chase it up here. Could you get a double? Yeah, you could actually get a double just on a nice move up into here. So actually, it's not a terrible idea. How many are out on this thing? Oh, only 1.2 million. $50 million market cap. Wow, they must be doing something big. And only 1.2 million out. It's not a terrible idea. I suppose if we did reload zones, maybe work your bids, line in the sand. That's basically where we are right now. You could throw in a bid there. It's not a bad idea. No signs of any momentum bottom or volume bottom here yet. So if you wanted to wait for those signs, that's not a bad idea too. But yeah, it's pretty respectable little trade location. The only problem here is, like I said, usually these new issues, they need to take some time to find the floor. But in fact, maybe even little old ladies. I think I could entertain the idea of doing a little bit of nibbling down in here. I might keep that one on the screen. Thank you for the idea. Okay, let's see what else we got. CPC. God, I haven't looked at CPC in a while. That's Capricorn, isn't it? Well, CPC. Oh. Whoa, hello. Now this is interesting. Does anybody remember, what did I say about Verge? Does anybody remember Verge? XVG? What was the big saying about it? Let's see if anybody has any memory here. Does anybody remember XVG? Hey, Kevin. This Kevin guy, holy crap, he's a good trader. He's got a memory like a trap. So remember we did an example for you. This was back in the winter time. We had a situation where we had a really, really long channel. Right, and we just simply say the longer the channel, the bigger the run. And look at the size of this channel. It was just huge. Everybody see that channel? This is what we call a narrow sideways channel. Little bit of controversy around CPC if you do a quick Google. Well, keep in mind this Verge, Roham. I bought this thing at 2 sats. I mean, talk about a controversial name. When I bought this thing, people were laughing. They were like, "You're crazy, Brian. What are you doing?" But does everybody see the little double bottom here? Does everybody see the W? Why would Brian get interested in this thing? And I just went in, and I think I bought it right here, right at 2 sats. Yeah, we did. I mean, how do you think we got the account from $500 to $100,000, right? Well, it's doing these kind of trades. So, and this is the sad part about crypto. And all of you guys, right, especially new site members, oh, I'm new to trading. I've been doing this for a month or two. There are so many people out on the internet right now going, oh, is Verge a good value here? I think Verge is an awesome buy here at 131 sats. Remember what price Brian paid? 2 sats, right? So the point that I'm trying to make here is this Capricorn looks interesting just in the fact that it's done absolutely nothing for a long, long period of time. Let's, where the hell did damn chart go? I guess we lost. Oh, look at that. Stupid thing's getting bid up as we're speaking here. I hope you guys aren't all going and market buying this thing. Work your bids at the line in the ZAD. Don't chase. But CPC, let's see what we got here. So, and here's the problem with venture capital. Is there any guarantees that this idea is going to work? No. I mean, you don't know. I mean, this thing might go off the board tomorrow. Welcome to venture capital. But kind of like Ian, right? If I took 0.01 BTC and I just went and bought that 0.01 BTC and just said, you know, to hell with it. You know, this is a half decent trade location, 0.01 BTC. What is my relative risk if I just risk that 0.01 BTC relative to the amount of potential reward I could make? And this is, you know, this is actually where most people fail in the stock market. They go and they maybe inherit like $10,000 from Uncle Bob or whatever who died, and they go and they plunk all 10,000 bucks into this, which is just stupidity. And you know, they'll call up CNBC or whatever, their broker. Oh, what's the riskiness of CPC? And the broker said, are you kidding me? This is insanely risky. This is nuts. This is venture capital. What are you doing? And unfortunately, you know, like The Verge, most of the public does that right here. And of course, they get bitch slapped. Right? But when I look at something like this, we have to flip the risk equation around. Let's not put all of our money into one idea. Let's break our money into little chunks and then apply that money on a smart basis so that if the idea doesn't work, it's not going to destroy you. But my hunch is, remember we saw that Verge at some point down the road, I think you could probably get quite a few doubles out of this thing. Right? Well, actually doubles. It would be if you bought here at 20, so your next sell order would be at 40. Is that high? No, something's wrong there. What have I done here? Oh, I got to zoom in. The doubles are just ridiculous. So if we bought at 17, then that would mean 36. 37 is another double. And that would mean that 70 is a double-ish. And that would mean 140, 150 is a double-ish, right? So the question becomes, if I take my money that I inherited from Uncle Norm and I go and put a small amount of that money into a name like this and I just risk it, right? Good old little old lady. And this thing actually does work. Look how much I can get paid just for that little itty bitty risk that I took. That's the way you make a lot of money over the long term playing this game. Now, you don't necessarily have to sell half on a double. Your strategy could be I sell a third on a triple, I sell a quarter on a quadruple. I don't really care. But do you see how what we're doing here is, in my opinion, this is a risk that's worth taking. It might take some time. Don't get me wrong. You might be sitting on this for another year. But when I look at something like this, this is definitely a risk that I'm willing to take. Probably down below here, Ian's working even cheekier stink bids. Can you guys see that if we just look at this range here, what do you think the odds are that these lows are into reload zone? Probably pretty good, eh? So if you want to, you know, be focused in on the short term, gee whiz, what a shock. Does everybody see how they just politely put in a bottom right through here? Shouldn't surprise us one bit. Does that make sense, guys? Yeah, Kevin's favorite setup. I think we're going to change your name from Kevin Fullerton to Kevin Shark. And Ian's like, hey, I'm the shark here. So the point here is Shark Kevin. Kev Shark. How do we say that? Anyway, the point here is, I think, you know, lower time frame traders, I think there's definitely interesting setups here. And I wouldn't be surprised if Kevin and Ian are already banging out doubles here and having a good old time. Can I buy it right here? That's not really the best trade location. If anything, I think you got to be patient, work your bids. There's a cheeky little gap right down here that could still be filled in. And if anything, what I would say is that, this is an accumulator, right? That's the 88.6 right there. Is that what you're saying? So I like the idea of this. If anything, this is absolutely perfect little old lady kind of stuff. If this was a venture cap stock and I was running a book of business, I would have no problem whatsoever taking maybe 1, 2, 2.5% of clients' portfolios and putting it to work into this. And based on our double levels, this thing on a risk reward basis, I actually think that it's a pretty attractive idea. Okay, we are past the top of the hour, so I think we probably have to leave it at that for today. Did you guys enjoy the presentation? Did anybody learn anything today? I sure hope so. Yes, yes. Ooh, I got a double yes there. Awesome. Okay, and new people to the site. I see Chris Dallas. That looks like a relatively new name. Welcome. Squeaky wheel gets the grease around this place. So, if you have questions, keep bugging me. James is here. He's, I don't know whether he's in the call here right now. He's a wealth of information. Joby's an awful stand-up guy. He's another one of our alumni. Really, really nice, helpful people. We have a few sort of intermediate grade members here, even in the video here today. Innie, Sebastian, these guys are really, really coming along really nicely, and I think Innie's probably worth all of us combined. But great environment. I really love the communal atmosphere. Let's all help each other get rich, and have some fun while we're doing it. So all the best to everybody. I think we'll leave the daily brief at that for today. We've got tutorials coming out the yin yang today. So, Mr. 10 o'clock, if you are around, you're probably already poking me saying, where the heck are you? Mike, are you 10 o'clock? Nope. Oh, Mauricio. Is it Mauricio? Oh, he's asking for yesterday's video. Oh, maybe 10 o'clock isn't here. I get a little bit of a break. Imagine that. All right, guys. You have yourself an awesome rest of your day. All the best. No breaks for you. All right. Thanks, Mike. Always looking out for good old Uncle Brian. Have yourselves a great day, everybody. All the best. Bye for now.